Just smush them together, gives us negative 12. Coefficient times coefficient, so negative 2 times negative 3. Oh, negative 2 times positive 3. Are the variables the same or are they different? Same, so we just add those little exponents. Imaginary 1 plus imaginary 1 gives me x squared. Negative 4 times negative 3. Why positive 12? Are the variables the same or are they different? So we just smush them together, gives us 12. Or ck, completely up to you because the order doesn't matter. Negative 1 that we don't see times negative 3. Positive 3. What do I do with that x? Smush them together, 3x. 2 times negative 3. Are the variables the same or are they different? Different. What do we do with different variables? Smush them together, negative 6bc. Show me your thumb. Good. Well, those are the easy ones. Now we're going to go to binomials and trinomials and a whole bunch of other stuff. Well, you don't want to make a big salary when you're older? To multiply polynomials, so not just a little tiny monomial, but when there's binomials and trinomials and polynomials, we use what's called distribution property. Here's what it says, then I'll explain it. It says a times b plus c equals ab plus ac. A times b plus c equals ab plus ac. What we do is multiply by each of the numbers in the bracket. So what's a times b? AB. And what's a times c? AC. What does this have to do with anything? What is this a picture of? So kids come to your door on Halloween, Halloween apples, and you just give candy to the first one and completely ignore the other two. What's going to happen? They cry, maybe they egg your house, maybe they run away screaming, maybe they call you bad names. Is that fair? Can you just give candy to the first person? No. What if you were the second person in the line? What if I was going to give candy to this class and I just gave it to the first person in each row? What would the rest of you be doing? But what would the rest of you be doing? WTH, right? What is going on here? That's what this is about. What's going to happen is you're going to want to multiply the a times the b because you can see it, and then people just put plus c, and they forget to give that a to the c. So it's the same deal with Halloween. You have to give the candy to everyone, which means you have to give, stop it, just stop moving just for 2 seconds. You have to give the number outside the brackets to everyone in the brackets. So the way this first one's going to work is we're going to do 2 times x, and we're going to do 2 times 5. It's just like giving candy to everybody that's in line in front of you. What is 2 times x? What is 2 times 5? Again, just a different way than using the algebras. If you like the algebras and you like to draw the grid, draw the grid. If you're like, I don't want to do that, then do it this way. Here we have a trinomial in brackets. Don't care what's in brackets. I just know I need to give that negative 3 to everything. So I'm going to do negative 3 times x squared, negative 3 times negative 3x, and negative 3 times 4. I'm just going to show you a trick for this one. So if you're visual, what you can do is write that down as 3 separate questions. So the negative 3 times the x squared. Oh, thank you. The negative 3 times the negative 3x. And the negative 3 times 4. So if you like to write it out as 3 little questions like the first example we did, then do that if that works for you. What's negative 3 times x squared? Negative 3 times negative 3x. And negative 3 times 4. Do you see how we've given that negative 3 to everything in the brackets? Just like we give candy to everyone. We don't want crying children on Halloween. Because that's sad. Here we have a negative 4 on the outside, so we give him to the 2 and we give him to the negative m. If you want to write it out to see it, then write it out. First one is negative 4 times 2. Negative 4 times negative 1 that we don't see. And then we just tuck the m in, so 4m. Next one, we're going to give a negative 5m to everything in the brackets. So we're going to do negative 5m times 4n. And then we're going to do negative 5m times 3m. Again, if you don't need this step to see it, then don't write it down. If you want to write it down, then write it down. Go ahead and just multiply the first term and write down what you think the answer is. Don't shout it out. Negative 5 times 4. Are the variables the same or are the variables different? So what do we do with them? Who had that for the first term? High fives. Write down the answer to the second term. In Italian? In Italian? But you have to do it in Italian now. Yeah. It's so sexy in Italian. So much better than English. Negative 5 times 3. What m squared? What are we doing? Why don't I just put an mm? Because it looks weird and they're the same variable. And what do we do when they're the same variable? Add the little exponent, so m to the 1 gives us m to the squared. How are we doing so far? Oh, lots going on here. A's and B's and tons of stuff. You have to give to the first and give to the second and give to the third. So I'm going to do negative AB times 2AB. And I'm going to do negative AB times 4B. And I'm going to do negative AB times negative 2A. And if your brain is like, that's too many A's and B's and I don't want to do that, is just cover the other two. Just pretend this is just a little tiny question like we did in the first example. What is negative 1 times 2? Now all I'm going to do is combine the A's and combine the B's, so I'm just going to do them separately. If I have a to the 1 and a to the 1, what do I get when I multiply? A squared. And then I have b to the 1 and b to the 1, what do I get when I multiply? B squared. And then because a and b are different, I just wrote those a squared and b squared next to each other. I just smushed them together. Okay, so I put the same ones together, and then I just smush the ones that are different. Negative 1 times 4. I'm going to just leave that a because he doesn't have any friends, so he's just going to tuck in there. He's lonely. And then I have a b to the 1 and a b to the 1, and what happens when I multiply? B squared. And then the last one, I have negative 1 times negative 2. The a to the 1 and a to the 1 gives me? And what do I do with that b? Just smush it in. He's all by himself. That's as hard as they're going to get, by the way. Yeah, questions so far? Turn and talk. Do number 7 with someone who looks friendly or maybe pretends to be friendly. We're going to give 4x to x squared and 4x to negative 5x and 4x to negative 3. So 4x times x squared, I have an x to the 1 and an x to the 2, and when I add those together, it's frozen. You can't even see that. Let me start again. I have an x to the 1 and an x to the 2, and when I multiply, I add 1 plus 2 gives me. So the first term is 4x cubed. 4 times negative 5. And then I have an x to a 1 times x to the 1, give me x to the 2. And then I have a 4 times negative 3. And what do I do with that x that was just hanging around there? Just smush them there. If your brain likes to write it out step by step, then write it out step by step. Oh my God, I got 2 brackets here. Well, all I'm going to distribute is what's directly in front of the bracket. So I'm going to give a 2 to the p, and I'm going to give a 2 to the 3. In the second bracket, I'm going to give negative 6 to p and negative 6 to negative 5. So we only distribute what's directly in front. I'm going to write it out the long way in case your brain likes that better. In a second, I'm going to do 2 times p and 2 times 3. And then I'm going to do negative 6 times p and negative 6 times negative 5. 2 times p? Or not 2p? Come on, that was funny. 2 times 3? Negative 6 times p? And negative 6 times negative 5? And then note. So now we're back to a question like we did earlier in the week with adding and subtracting. So I've got 2p here, and I've got negative 6p, and now when I add those up, what do I have? Why not p squared? Because we're not multiplying, we're just adding and subtracting, so p just stays as p. And here I have plus 6, and here I have plus 30, plus 36. So our final answer is negative 4p plus 36. Last one is one of the application questions. We did perimeter when we were doing adding and subtracting. Now we're doing area. What's the formula for area of a rectangle? What's the length of our rectangle?
3x plus 6.
Oh, I'm calling it 4x because I want that in front. And that makes our width 3x plus 6. And so we're just at a question like before. I'm going to give that 4x to 3x, and I'm going to give the 4x to 6. 4x times 3x.
12x squared.
4x times 6.
24x.
That's it. That's multiplying.